Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another special edition of 30 Minutes here on the Joe Nolfo Show. Tonight, we have a very special show for you, offering up a look into the world of big-time culinary business, or in layman's terms, the world's best restaurants. Tonight, we will take you behind the scenes of two of the best chefs to ever hit the New York restaurant scene. One, Antonio Andolini, was the highest paid and most sought after chef, until one day, he just quit, stating that he could no longer go with the hypocrisy and redundancy of the food world. His critics now call him a food fascist. The other chef we will feature is Bernard Benneton, who stepped into the food scene as Antonio Andolini was stepping out. His outlook on the food scene was the polar opposite of Chef Andolini's, and as a result, he is now the #1 chef in his New York restaurant, simply called Rainbow Vista. So, without further ado, I start my interview with Antonio Andolini to find out why he quit the food business and is now considered a food fascist. Welcome to 30 Minutes, Antonio. Tell us, why did you quit the cooking business so abruptly, and why do some people now call you a food fascist?
Hello, Morley, and thank you for having me on your wonderful show. This food fascism is all a bunch of bullshit. I just got fed up with the limits and the borders that modern day cooking of food was forcing me into. Allow me to explain for your audience. You see, food preparation was doomed over 1,000 years ago by the uninventive people who designed recipes way back in those days so long ago.
Really? Please explain more for our audience.
Gladly, Morley, I would love to explain. Now let's take Italian food, for instance, from where my own home country is. And I will show you the hypocrisy and the redundancy in the food that has been celebrated as one of the most popular foods in the world today. Okay, Morley, you walk into an Italian restaurant. You pick up a menu, and there's at least 45 or 50 choices on the menu. What you see that is where all the hypocrisy comes in. If you look a little closer at that menu, you will see that there is truly only one item on the entire menu. It's the same exact dish, just served in many different presentations. You see a lasagna, spaghetti, meatballs manicotti, stuffed shells, and gnocchi. They're all the same exact dish. It's all just tomato paste with the meat and some cheese and a pasta in different shapes. You see the hypocrisy of it all, Morley. For Christ's sakes, a stromboli and a calzone are identical. The only difference is in the shape of the bread. Is that why I went to culinary school to the tune of $100,000 that I owe today in student loans, so I could go somewhere and cook the same exact damn dish over and over again? No! I will not do it, and this is where this food fascism name came from. I would never cook again.
I really think you're taking this way too seriously. You could cook something else besides Italian, couldn't you?
Like what else? How about another ethnic dish that's very popular in America today? Mexican. Well, let's look at that. A burrito, a tamale, a taco, nachos, a flautas, tostadas, and enchiladas. They're all the same exact ingredients and the same exact dish that they're serving to you, just in a different shapes. I can no longer even talk about cooking anymore. I am a food artiste, not a food robot. I quit the phone business, I quit the food, I quit the restaurant business, and I quit this stupid interview. I'm out of here.
Okay, well, I can certainly understand why they call him the food fascist. Now on to our next guest, and that would be Chef Benneton of the Rainbow Vista restaurant. And as I mentioned earlier, this chef has become famous for putting his opposite views of Chef Andolini's into the exciting food he cooks, which has made his restaurant the #1 restaurant in all of New York City. Welcome, Chef Benneton, and would you please share the secret of your success with our audience?
I'd be very happy to, Morley. First of all, when dealing with food preparation, you have to have genuine love for the individuals you're preparing it for. You see, I watched the rise and fall of the great Chef Andolini, and as a matter of fact, I studied his career from his brilliant beginning to his desperate and sad fall into food fascism.
Really? That sounds so extreme. Could you please explain to our viewers?
Well, as I was saying to you, you have to love in your heart to be a great chef. And Chef Andolini must have forgotten that golden rule. Instead, he began to despise different ethnic foods because of the similarity of their designs. And then he allowed that notion to slowly turn to hate of the very ancestors who invented these recipes so long ago. And this ate away at him until he could no longer cook. In fact, he was once quoted as saying he would rather make a living giving pedicures than cook again. And believe me, that's very serious. I mean, have you been to a nail salon and seen some of these women's feet? God, I'd rather bathe a rattlesnake.
Yes, I have been in nail salons, and yes, you are right about the disgusting feet I saw. But tell us, what did you do to become so popular? You said it was from studying Chef Andolini's rise and fall. Tell our audience, what did you do to become #1?
That's easy, Morley. I just kept love in my heart and did the polar opposite of what Chef Andolini did. He despised the overwhelming similarities of the food he was cooking and decided to divorce his career altogether. I sat back and took a long look with love in my heart and then decided that instead of a divorce, I would marry everything together.
Well, that all sounds so wonderful. Please elaborate. I can hardly wait.
All the while, when I was watching Chef Andolini being dragged down into a cauldron filled with hate and food fascism, I was doing the opposite by rising like a food phoenix into the hemisphere. I took the hate he had for those old celebrated ethnic dishes and filled them with love, and they instantly catapulted my restaurant into a world of peace, love, and understanding, which resulted in my restaurant, the Rainbow Vista, skyrocketing to the #1 eatery in the Big Apple.
That is so beautiful, Chef Benneton. And what are some of the dishes that resulted in replacing hate for love?
Well, as I was saying, I just did the polar opposite of what Chef Andolini did. Instead of reacting hatefully to the similarities of food dishes, I decided to bring them all together and wed them into a brand new array of multi-ethnic dishes. For instance, I united Italian and Mexican food together in one of our most popular dishes called the General Enrique Hector Macolino, which is chicken cacciatore rolled in a flour tortilla wrap with a sliced avocado and jalapeno dipping sauce. Or the ever-popular East meets West, which consists of a ribeye steak wrapped around a Maine lobster and then smothered in egg foo young with all that garlicky sauce.
That all sounds so wonderful, Chef Benneton, but please tell us about the dish that you won Entree of the Year with. I know everyone wants to know the story behind that one.
Oh yes, you must be talking about our award-winning dish I call World Peace, which I had trademarked and can only be purchased at the Rainbow Vista.
Well, tell us, Chef Benneton, can you share the ingredients with us and why you named it World Peace?
Absolutely, Morley. After all, it is a trademarked item. The ingredients are shrimp roll mein, borscht soup, antipasta soup, barbecue rib sans the bones, a burrito, a couple of pierogies, Wiener Schnitzel, African peanut soup, a lobster tail, and a quart of mulligatawny soup, all blended together in a giant unification vat. And then eggs and flour are added to make it all stick together. And finally, it's all forced together into a giant baking dish and cooked at 375 degrees for 12 hours straight. And voila, you have the Rainbow Vista's famous entree known as World Peace. And while you're enjoying this terrific dish at my restaurant, we have you surrounded by all the little figurines we purchased from the ride at Disney. It's a small world after all. You know that one? It's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. Yes, that's the World Peace at the Rainbow Vista.
a dish that melts all the world's foods together to promote world peace. Isn't it a beautiful thing? Well, yes, Chef Benneton, you have truly created a very beautiful thing. And that is it for this edition of 30 Minutes on the Joe Nolfo Show. So please remember to hit the like and subscribe button, or else we will never achieve world peace. I'm Morley Danger, and believe you me, I'm gone. Venus Schnitzel. Venus Schnitzel. Jesus. Oh, God.
That's a rough one there, buddy. Hey, by the way, it's not Wiener Schnitzel. You gotta say what the V is.
Venus Schnitzel?
Wiener Schnitzel.
Wiener Schnitzel.